we distribute the notes? The notes. Have they distributed the notes? Just a one-page note. We have the notes, we have the one-page notes. You should distribute it before, because that is the basis of my talk. Okay, can we start? Okay. So what I want to do is basically we want to provide some sort of basis where inshallah you would be able to be part of a transforming generation, to bring back the glory of Islam and to be part of this generation that inshallah will make us better Muslims and better people who can help reshape the 21st century. So basically this book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness and success, is written by Professor Muhammad Mahdi Jenkins. Allah yarham, he passed on, and I continued the book and got it published. So the whole idea is basically how we're going to use positive Islamic psychology to change ourselves, to change our family, to change our society, and inshallah shape the 21st century so that it will become more receptive to Islam throughout the world. As we all know, today Islam, we are facing a lot of problems. The image problem of Islam is very severe, and we know about the problem. Just yesterday, one crazy guy killed how many people in Stockholm? So these are the kind of things that we have to face, both internal and external, and how we are going to actually further ourselves in terms of achieving peace, happiness and success. Because the three issues that we are talking about in terms of positive Islamic psychology is we want to have peace, happiness, success. So how are we going to go about with it? Because if we have peace, happiness and success, that means there will be no addiction. I mean, but that's utopia. I mean, you're talking about utopia. But if we have peace, happiness and success, then we can lessen the impact of the problems that we face today and how we're going to overcome the challenges that we are having today. Can I have one copy of my note, please? So that I don't need to bend back. Okay. Sorry. All right. Okay, next. The basis of positive Islamic psychology, you can see behind, there is your note here, all right? The 5 realms that exist in our spiritual and physical domains, all right? So, it goes back to the first principle, because in this book, Positive Islamic Psychology, we're talking about 4 basic principles in terms of positive Islamic psychology, because we must have a framework. Our framework begins with understanding the Creator and the created universe, all right? We must understand how Allah created this universe, how Allah created us. That's the first principle, because without that principle, then we are actually following the secular psychologies, atheistic, secular, or neutral psychology, where they did say, okay, you know, there is no God or whatever it is, but you have mindfulness, and then somehow some idea which they will not bring you up to the level of realizing God, who is the creator of this universe. So the first principle of how we frame this book is first believe in God, the creator of the universe. And we use Ilm Kalam, we use quantum physics, we use modern science, how energy, matter, we discuss that openly because that is the aim of scholarship. So for example, if that's how we're going to face the ummah who are now being challenged by the atheistic, secular, scientific, inverted comma worldview. So how are we going to face them? We cannot face them by just saying, okay, we just use our old ilmu kalam, wujud, qidam, baqa, and then say that's it. Can you have that kind of dialogue with a scientist? You can't. So you must have a dialogue where Muslim scientists who are expert in physics, astrophysics, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, whatever, then they must develop their structural command, research, to defend the worldview of believing in God. And fortunately, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of actually Christian scholars, Christian scientists, bioethicists, and so on, biochemists, physicists, who are now bringing in this idea of God who is creating this universe. But Muslims, our voice are quite muted, so we have to have a group of people doing that. That's the first principle. The second principle is understanding our nature. Are we just mechanical beings? Some automata of just working automatically, eat, sleep, die, finish. No vision, no mission in life, no purpose, except maybe just a physical existence. Okay, if we accept that worldview, then there is no future. There is no value in life. So that's why the second principle of positive Islamic psychology is we talk about, we have 4 realms in ourselves here. You can see that first and foremost, Allah created us from the soul world. That means at the realm, primordial realm, we are all in the realm of Alastu bi Rabbikum. We will ask, am I not your Lord? And we say, we acknowledge. All right? So from that realm, we are existent in the realm close to Allah. There's a lot of scholarship, idea and all that. We are not getting into that detail because basically there are a lot of metaphysical things that we should not actually go unless you are a scholar yourself. But at least we must understand that our basis of existence is our ruh. And coupled with our ruh, at that point of our existence, we have the thinking faculty, the faculty to acknowledge God. So we have the akal. And we have the emotional sense of knowing who is Allah. We have the qalb. So at that level, we have in our role 3 aspects of ourselves. We call it realms, aspect, dimension, whatever you want to call. But great scholars like Imam Ghazali, Ibn Qayyim, even Ibn Sina's, we have defined this area as interchangeable depending on the usage. Alright, so if you want to know, you have to buy this book. Inshallah, there's only 50 ringgit today. 50 ringgit only, normally 150 ringgit. So because this is our da'wah, we are not here to make money, then you can go into the detail. I'm just giving you an overview. Alright, this is only 1 page, but there is 200 page. Okay? Alright. But as we live on this earth, the spirit that Allah blows into us at the point of conception, all of us know, right? When we are in our mother's womb at a certain period, Allah blow out His spirit. That is the primordial spirit that was already in the realm of Alastu bi Rabbikum, became a human being. And as we lead life, we have the 4 realms. That means we have the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. Ruh, qalb, akal, and jasad. So this is the basis in which we live. And then when we die, what happened? We don't die, actually. There's no death in Islam in the real sense. It's only a separation of our physical realm from our SEM. I use the SEM, spiritual, emotional, mental domain or self. We call it self. So the nafs that we are, our self here in this world consisting of these 4 realms, maybe more. Wallahu alam. That means there will be more research, more Muslim scholars who have to do research and so on. But at least from the perspective of our traditional scholars, these are the 4 realms that has been debated in lengthy books by all these great scholars. So we have brought this back as a second principle of knowing who we are. So once we know that, that means we know we are not just a mere mechanical, physical being that lives and dies on this planet Earth. We have another place to go, far greater, far more glorious, far more beautiful than we can ever imagine. So we have a vision and mission for us to know who we are. Because the first question that every thinking human being was given, printed into your fitrah, Because when you have your spiritual self has a spiritual DNA. Now you know you have a physical DNA. You all know about your DNA, right? The DNA structure of how it shapes you as a human being. Your DNA structure may be very close to other beings, but they're not the same. Alright? But infused at the point of our existence, Allah has infused the idea of who is Allah, who is God. It is imprinted in us, but we may lose it. As Al-Ghazali says, because of our worldly desire, because of our material things and lower nafs, al-ammara, we begin to forget our primordial reality that is imprinted in our conscious and subconscious self. That is their reality. So every human being, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims, have that imprint on them. As long as they are Bani Adam, they have that imprint. It is a question of we eliciting them to come up with some of this basic understanding of who they are. Because you can talk about all psychology in the world. If you do not know who you are, why do you live, and where you're going to go after that, you will not have no basis of a permanency in terms of your journey of life. Islam gives you the permanency of the journey of life. From the rim, primordial rim, to the rim of this world, then to the rim of akhirah, and you have to go through the barzah and the judgment and the phases that you have to go through. You study that in the traditional books. Okay? So once you understand that, then you know who you are. And coupled with this, all right, our speaker early in the morning, our reciter of the Quran recites the verses from the Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay? Where Allah tells that He's going to appoint a Khalifah on this earth. And the angel says, are you going to appoint some creature that is going to shed bloodshed? Alright? Then Allah says, I know what you do not know. And then the whole story of the unfolding of the nature of the Adamic state. Adam, who is he? He is a representation of all of us. That means we are from the line of Adam, and we are the children of this species that Allah has created as His Khalifah on this earth. And as for that, we must understand that basically being the Khalifah of Allah on this earth is a great honor. So Allah has given us this honor of becoming a species that can realize the grandeur of this universe. The monkey cannot do that. The camel cannot do that. But we can. When you look at the stars, you say, Subhanallah. Where Allah tells us in the Quran, Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahar la ayatin li ulil albab. So Allah wants, we look at the stars, we look at the heavens and the earth, we look at the alternation of the day and night, we can then understand that Allah created all these things. We become people of intellect, people of rational. Ulil albab. Ulil albab means we use our intellect, we use our reasoning, we use our understanding to see the grandeur of this universe. And in reality, maybe inshallah after my talk, I'll show you one little video. If you have on YouTube, you go to it, Smiling Faces. It shows you the flow of existence of this earth right to the edge of the universe and back, and then from this self, the smiling face, right to the microorganism, right to the subatomic particles. And in reality, you know what is the size of this earth? Who think this earth is big? It's a teeny, weeny. You know, we are a planet with our with our star system, the sun. The sun is part of a Milky Way. Alright? They have more than 1 trillion stars. Our Milky Way, there are more than a few trillion galaxies in this universe. So if we stand at the edge of the universe, our star, the sun, will be the size of one atom. One atom. You know what one atom? The size of one hydrogen atom. The earth, it doesn't exist. It's an illusion. It's just so teeny, weeny that, it has no significance at all from the reality of the physical existence. So there is a mystery behind the mystery. Why then Allah created us? To realize this grandeur of His plan. That means He has a greater plan for us. And that plan, as mentioned in the Quran, that we are His Khalifah of Allah on this earth. And to be His Khalifah of Allah on this earth, it is an honor. So when we look at all this creation that Allah tells us, when we reflect, standing, sitting down, and standing on our sides, we say, Subhanallah, glory to you, O Allah. You have not created all this in vain. So we realize that we are nothing. The whole being of this universe, even you go to in the Quran, so Allah tells us, even you can collect this whole earth and make it into gold and present to Allah, He will not be accepted as a ransom for your soul. That means if you do not have this deed, your losses will be so severe that even it is not even worth the whole earth full of gold. Alright? So you can see that basically this whole idea of being the Khalifah of Allah is a very simple concept that we should bring in. Later on, I'll bring this idea back into this idea of addiction and how we can overcome that problem. How we can realize our purpose and meaning in life, and how we can realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the highest level of ulil albab. Every one of human beings have the potential to be ulil albab. Rational, thinking people who are subservient to the reality of the Creator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we have these atheist people, like Dawkins and Lauren Claus, who are atheists, and they say, no such thing as God and all that. But you can see, they do not have any argument except just debate points for the purpose of becoming famous so that they can make more money. Alright? But they don't have nas. They don't have that thinking capacity, even though they can be so-called great physicists. Alright? So what is important is for us to find this balance between the four principles of our nature, of our realm, and then how to connect it to become the Khalifah of Allah. And our scholars in the good old days also have mentioned, once you realize you are the Khalifah of Allah, there's only three things you need to do in this world. First is to strive to perfect yourself. What do you mean by that? I mean, you try to become a better and better person. Because life is a journey from the fitrah to perfection. But we can be from fitrah to negation. Alright? So there are people, the fitrah, the baseline is good. Alright? But they don't go that way. This is your baseline, okay? From fitrah, you should be going towards perfection. Alright? This is your goal. To become al-insanul kamil, to become a God-abiding human being, to achieve the best, to fulfill the best, to receive the best, and all that you can do. But some people, they go this way. Alright? They regress into negativity, they regress into atheism, they regress into materialism, they regress into so many things that cause them to be in the state of loss. When we recite in the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. We recite this very often. Indeed, by the movement of time, we are all in the state of loss except those illa alladhina amanu. They are perfecting themselves in terms of their amal and wa amilus solihat, their iman and amal. وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. So they are moving in that direction. But the other will go this way. Addiction is one of these problems. Alright? Kufur. And then materialism. Imagine the craziness that we have in this world today. Alright? In certain countries, 1% of the population own 80% of the wealth of the country. In the world today, alright, 1% of the population of the world own more than 50% of the wealth of the world. Imagine, a few thousand people only, not much, Only 50% of the wealth of the country, and they live They may have 1,000 Ferraris. Can they die and bring all the 1,000 Ferraris? They can't. Alright? It's of no use. When they are dying, when their last breath, they think, where's my Ferrari? Where's my Ferrari? They will think of that. What would they be thinking? They will be struggling because they are so rooted in this earth. Materialism has made them blind to the reality of the spiritual world. So they can only live and die in this physical world. So they are rooted like a tree. So what do Malaikat Maut do? Hang them. You know, they will have such a painful death, it's unimaginable. Alright? Because they are not rooted in a balanced way of life. Alright? So if we are in this way, we still have hope to go back. So this is fitrah. Alright, this is negative life. This is positive life. Alright, so we have to choose. So our life could be imperfect, doesn't matter. Alright, we could be going through life, alright, brought up by good parents. We were going well, go to our secondary school. Then in secondary school, we get to know ice. You know, it's not ice kacang. Huh? You know it's ice? Drug, stimulant, amphetamine. We go to party, enjoy, tak tidur malam kan. Abang, ambil ni lah, happy lah. So they happy. They start with 1, start with 2, start with 3, then they become addicted. Their school result will be reflective. They fail in school. They fail. They can go. This way is death. So, a large proportion of actually addicts end up this way. Very sad. Okay? Because the recovery rate for addict is only about 60% or 70%. That means 60 to 70% will die as addict, broken human beings with no hope of Jannah. Sad. I mean, we are not judgmental, only Allah knows best. But if he takes the proper counseling and we, as people in society, uses our basic knowledge to help them, counsel them, bring them back again, so their life will be like this, you know. But finally, they will be okay. So this is our life actually. Many of us are like that. So don't even look at this point, this guy or this girl at this point and say, oh, he's finished. No. He or she. There is always hope. As long as you breathe, there is always hope. Even to the last breath. As long as your soul is not, your roh is not at your halqum, you can be saved. Alright? So it's important for us to know that at all levels of our life, to be the Khalifah of Allah, we have only to do 3 things. You write that down. Very simple message. You write that down. Always reflect, Ya Allah, let me strive and make myself good. It's just a short dua, your inner speech, because I'm telling you, you can use this method to, inshallah, have a quantum leap in your quality of life. Very simple 3 ayat aja. Because these were the summation of all the great scholars before. They say, if you are the Khalifah of Allah, you have only to do 3 things in your life. So, Ya Allah, help me strive to make myself good. Then, help others to be good. Because we have people like this. So we have to help them to be good. And make the whole world good. So, every day you imprint in your conscious and subconscious mind. Every time in your working day, when you feel a little bit down, say, Ya Allah, make me a good person. Help me to become good. Ya Allah, help me to help others to be good. Help me every day do 1 small thing. Then help others to be good. And help me among those who try to make the world good. So when that is imprinted in your spiritual, emotional and mental self, then you know what is good, what is bad. For example, if your inner frustration says you must kill somebody, but because you're imprinted the idea that no, killing is bad, right? So then you will not do the killing. Alright? Or doing a lot of the things like addiction, you will not. Because you are slowly building yourself internal strength given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change. Alright? So that is how we have to understand that